they want to lose 10 pounds, I need to start running. It's kind of the same where if I'm talking with a member who has a limited schedule, so
Mm,
she's going to drop one of her strength training days so she can do more cardio. I'm like, no, stop it right now. Keep your strength training,
right.
go for a walk.
There's three things that you need to do. You need to eat fewer calories, consume fewer calories. That's the easiest way. Two, you need to lift weights so that you don't burn muscle, you are burning fat. And the third thing is you need to eat a lot of protein.
Welcome to Real Women, Real Results, the podcast where we go beyond the reps and dive into what it really takes to live a stronger, healthier, and more confident life. I'm your host, Jamie Revelle, women's fitness expert and founder of W3 Body Women's Training Gyms in Chicagoland. Each week, we'll bring you real stories, expert insights, and the tools you need to create real results. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Real Women, Real Results. I'm Jamie Revelle, your host, and today I've got a topic for you all that I've wanted to discuss for a long time. It's something that comes up over and over and something that we try to explain to all of our current members and new members coming in looking to achieve their fat loss goals. It's what's better for fat loss, cardio or strength training. There's so much noise out there. Some people swear by long cardio sessions. Others say lifting weights is the only way. The truth is, both cardio and strength training are important and have their place, but in different ways. Spoiler alert, though, you don't have to kill yourself on the treadmill to achieve your fat loss goals. So, in this episode, we're going to break down the benefits of each, talk about how they actually work together, and then dive into what kinds of cardio are best. We'll also talk about why cardio is so important for your heart and lungs, but isn't going to help you with long-term fat loss success. So to help me do that, I am lucky enough to have Coach Corey here with me. Welcome, Coach Corey.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming back. You were on our supplements episode. We've done a couple webinars together. And also I realized that after the supplements episode, or after I re-listened to it, once we launched it, that I never really introduced you. So
We
I
just
was
jumped
like,
right in.
okay, let's get right into it. I was so excited. But luckily, it's like one of our most popular episodes. So I figured, well, we did something right. But just to introduce you, you have been in the industry for over 25 years. Is that right?
28 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
28 years. So lots of experience as a trainer, as a consultant, and as a gym owner. Corey owns Clarksburg Strength and Fitness, which is in Maryland. He just got back from speaking at the Perform Better Summit in Providence. And his topic was about AI and how to utilize it and all of the tools that are out there for the fitness industry. So, luckily, he's here to help me unpack this episode because there's so much really great information. And I really appreciate the way that you, Coach Corey, explain anything in fitness, whether it's nutrition or it's strength training or cardio and all the benefits and all that great stuff. So thank you for being here and breaking it down for us and making it like easily understandable and digestible so that we can forever remember all the information you're about to share. So
So,
let's get into it. So I think that as an industry, I think we're moving in the right direction when it comes to cardio and strength training. And I say that because for the longest time, it was cardio, cardio, cardio. Like everyone
uh-huh.
thought they needed to run. Everyone thought they needed to do hours of cardio at the gym. And fortunately, I think that's changing and has definitely changed. And there's way more interest in strength training. But unfortunately, I think that a lot of people still bring with them these old school thoughts that more is better and that I need to like kill myself in the gym and crawl out super sweaty from so much cardio. And we are here to try to change that. So let's start with that big question. Why do you think so many women believe cardio is the main way to lose fat?
Because that is all we have been fed since pretty much like the 1950s, when fitness really became mainstream. And then 1960s, in the 1950s, it was still kind of functional training. Then we went to 1960s, and then the era of the bodybuilder came out. And so you started seeing in gyms the giant muscular men, and women didn't want to be like that. So lifting weights started getting this negative connotation that those guys are lifting weights and they're getting just absolutely jacked and shredded. I don't want to look like a man. Therefore, I'm going to do something else. And that's when the era of the aerobics came out, right? So you had these rooms with these women wearing the flashiest leotards that they possibly could, and you had fitness idols like Jane Fonda and women like that promoting this other kind of fitness that was aesthetically pleasing for women, and they didn't have to go in and co-mingle and interact with these, massive steroid using,
Mm.
sweaty, disgusting men. So the men didn't go into the aerobics room and the women didn't go into the weight room. And so there was this big divide. And so that's where the cardio came in to be part of that fitness culture for women because they really didn't want to go. It wasn't that they couldn't do it or shouldn't do it. I mean, these guys were in a league of their own over there, and they just didn't want to. They didn't want to mingle with them. So
Yeah.
that's where
So is
really
the
I think the
they ruined it
bodybuilders,
for
I think
everybody.
they
Just
and
kidding.
and honestly, the access to information was only through magazines. So you didn't have access to the science. So you followed the people that you wanted to look like. And that was, Corey Everson, although Corey Everson lifted weights. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you didn't have that physique without lifting weights. But the Jane Fondas and things like that, they were like, I want to look like that. So let's go do that. And by the way, step aerobics and things that involve dance, that was fun for them, right? And
Absolutely.
the
Got 'em
men,
moving.
and if you were a man, you wanted to be big and bulky, so you went and found the biggest and bulkiest dude in the gym and went, "What are you doing?" So now there's a lot more science behind proper weight training, proper health, proper cardio, fat loss. There's so much more scientifically backed strategies that will make lifting, that will make fat loss, that will make fitness, that will make health and wellness a lot more achievable for a lot more people if done,
Mhm.
based off of the science.
Okay. So, what happens when someone only does cardio thinking that that's the answer? And what kind of results do they get or not get?
Yeah. So if you only do cardio, I always explained to me one time, they're like, if you look at an Olympic sprinter versus a marathon runner, right? One lifts weights and does short bursts of cardio, and the other one does really, really, really long bouts of cardio. So, if you only do cardio, you are going to get a very strong heart and lungs. If you look at what cardio is short for cardiovascular. So, that is your heart, cardio, respiratory, that is your lungs. When you do cardio, its sole purpose should be to strengthen your heart and lungs, to improve your VO2 max, to improve your resting heart rate. That's what we want cardio to achieve, not fat loss. When we do weight training, we want to get stronger. We want to get a stronger core. We want to get stronger muscles. We want to build strength. That's what weight training is for. So if you only do cardio, you are going to get a good, strong heart and lungs, but you're not going to do a whole lot for fat loss and you're not going to do a whole lot for getting stronger.
Mhm. What happens if someone only strength trains but ignores cardio completely?
It's a very good question. Here at my gym, we talk about live stronger, live longer. So the strength training part is going to get you to live stronger, right? You don't want to just be super strong and not live very long. And you also don't want to live very long without being very strong, right? Everybody knows that 90-year-old that can barely walk because they have no strength. They never did any strength training. We also know somebody that's been, very strong that ended up passing away too early because they didn't have any cardiorespiratory health. So we want to have the harmony of the two. So you need to have the balance of both. You want to work the heart, strengthen the heart and lungs. We do that through cardio, and you want to strengthen your body, and we do that through strength training.
Mhm. So, let's be super clear about those people that have fat loss goals.
Mhm.
And I just want to specify when I say fat loss, and I explain this, if someone comes in and they tell me that they want to lose weight, I always explain the difference. I understand because that's just what's out there. Oh, I want weight loss. Okay,
Mhm.
great. But weight loss, if you don't strength train, you will lose muscle as well. So, what we actually want to do is we want to focus on fat loss so that we don't lose muscle. And we'll do that through strength training and various other things. So, if someone comes in for fat loss, and between cardio and strength training, what's actually the most effective for fat loss and why?
Yep, strength training, right? So, and I always tell people when they come in and they say, "I want to lose weight." Well, great. Weight is your relationship to gravity. That's it. That talks nothing about body composition. That's when we want to talk about, or they say, "I want to tone. I want to." All of that is just decreasing body fat and increasing lean muscle. That's really it. When we want that sculpted, toned, whatever physique, you need to lose body fat, you need to increase lean muscle mass. And as a female, I'd also say increase your bone mineral density. All of that comes from strength training, right?
Right.
So if you want to, there's really only three scientifically proven methods that you need to do to reduce body fat. And I'm going to throw a fourth one in there because there's a lot of emerging science on it. One is you have to be in a caloric deficit. Period. Fact. If you are not in a caloric deficit, you will not lose fat. You can't even argue with me. Two is you need to strength train. Here's why. When you are in a caloric deficit, your body is going to go for a fuel source. It's going to use fat, but that's a very slow. Well, first starts with using sugars, right? It's going to start burning glycogen, fast burning. So it's a short term burst of energy. But then we want it to tap into fat. Here's the problem. Muscle can also be broken down as a fuel source, and we don't want that. So you have to create some sort of anabolic signaling within the body, and that is going to come from strength training. So it's going to say, don't burn the muscle. We're doing all of this physical activity. We need to keep the muscle. So strength training is so important in fat loss. And then along with the caloric deficit, you need to have enough protein to feed the muscle while you're doing the strength training. Again, cardio is only required for a strong heart and lungs.
And what's the fourth one? Sleep?
Sleep. Yes,
Mm,
sleep,
recovery.
right? Because recovery is so critical to just about everything, hormone regulation, gut health, you name it. So much is coming that we're finding out with the need for proper sleep and recovery. So that would be my fourth one that I would throw in there.
Yeah. So, two questions from what you said. Number one is how often do you explain to your members like what you just said in that way, such as like, anabolic signaling throughout the body, et cetera, et cetera? Like, do you go over that on a regular basis with them?
All the time.
Do you?
Yeah. Do I use the word anabolic signaling? No, I forgot that I'm talking to your audience and not directly to you as a coach.
Right. That's
But
why I ask.
But I say, look, there's 3 things I do say, there's 3 things that you need to do. You need to eat fewer calories, consume fewer calories, that's the easiest way. 2, you need to lift weights so that you don't burn muscle, you are burning fat. And the third thing is you need to eat a lot of protein.
Mhm.
So that's how I say it.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. Just breaking it down.
Yeah. But I have
Um,
to reiterate it over and over and over again because I sit there and go, "Oh, I need to lose 10 pounds." Great. Okay, I started, running 5Ks, and I'm like, "Why?" Because we have been programmed, especially any of us that are, you know, late 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. We have been, we lived through that era of step aerobics, jazzercise, you name it. That's what you did.
right. I was just gonna say when you say, "Oh, yeah, they wanna lose 10 pounds, I need to start running." It's kinda the same where if I'm talking with a member who has a limited schedule, so
Mm,
she's gonna drop one of her strength training days so she can do more cardio. I'm like, "No, stop it right now. You keep your strength training,
right.
go for a walk." Like, we'll get to that. It's one of my questions later is about, when you have limited time, like, what do you make a
Mhm.
priority? Well, spoiler alert, it's strength training, but still. So, and then something else from your question, and you kind of touched on it, but in case someone is like really new to this terminology, can you break down what is a caloric deficit?
Yeah, so you have a certain amount of calories that you need to be alive. That is your basal metabolic rate. Then you have your um, your NEAT calories. Those are your non-exercise activity thermogenics. Then you have your exercise, and then you have the thermogenics of food, how many calories it takes to actually digest your food. So in a day, you burn a certain amount of calories. If you eat more than you burn, you are going to gain weight. If you eat the same amount of calories as you burn, you stay the exact same. But if you consume fewer calories, a caloric deficit, than you burn, you will lose weight. And then somebody will say, oh, so if I just increase my cardio, I'm going to burn more calories than I eat, right? Technically, yes, that would be you would catch me on a technicality. However, out of the four ways of burning calories, your BMR burns the most. Your non exercise, your NEAT calories burns the second most. Believe it or not, breaking down food is the third most, and your exercise is the least amount of calories burned in a day. That is the hardest way to get your caloric burn. So it's a lot easier to stop eating four Oreo cookies than it is to burn 200 calories in exercise. So it is much easier to get into that caloric deficit through nutrition than it is through excessive cardiovascular training. And we can get into hormonal responses, the release of ghrelin after doing cardio. Here's the other thing about too much cardio is you're
You're
tired.
answering my question that I was gonna ask next. Yeah.
So if you do so much cardio, then you throughout your day is you're a little bit more fatigued. So you're going to park closer to the door, not farther away from the door. So people who do more cardio, we see that their non-exercise calories burned actually drops. So they're doing themselves a disservice than compared to if they dialed back on the cardio, increase the strength training, they have a lot more energy, and therefore that group, when tested, gets more NEAT calories, and over the day, the period of 24 hours, actually ends up burning more calories.
So I imagine that is a subconscious thing going on, right? Like, for example, as you put it, you would park closer than further away just because you're that much more tired. Like, these aren't conscious decisions to be like, I'm tired, therefore I will park closer than I normally do.
Yeah,
Or, it's just like, I just don't have the energy to go do that because I'm just spent, that kind
yeah.
of thing.
And
Yeah.
if you're tired, so you said, right? What do you need? Energy. Where do we
Yeah.
get energy from? Well,
So,
besides caffeine and coffee,
right.
energy is food. So also, if you do so much cardio and you are therefore more tired, more fatigued, your brain says, hey, you need more energy. Subconsciously eat a little bit more.
Right. Well, okay, you pretty much answered it, but that was going to be my next question from what you said is what is the science on like the hunger side of when you do so much cardio? And
So
I don't, yeah.
there's a hormone that's released called ghrelin, and that is our hunger hormone. And so when you are burning all of these calories, and it's again 200, 300 calories. It's not much. A pound of fat is 3,500 calories. So you're going to have to really, really tune up or turn up that cardio in order to get there. Your body says, whoa, whoa, whoa. And this is a evolutionary response, right? If we burn so much calories, then we could wither away and die. So we're designed to retain calories or to retain energy. So when you burn all of this through, like especially higher intensity cardio, then you release a hormone called ghrelin, and that says, "Hey, you need to eat." So we see a lot of people that will consume. I mean, it's not hard to consume 200, 300 extra calories unknowingly when right after you just did a 200 or 300 calorie workout.
Mhm. Yeah.
Again, it's all subconscious though. Like you said, nobody says, "Wow, I did, that workout really kicked my butt. I'm going to have to go eat to replenish all those calories." It just happens subconsciously.
Mhm. In terms of building the foundation to long-term fat loss, even though cardio burns more calories in the moment, why does strength training build that foundation?
Yeah, so when we talk about burning calories or burning fat. Burning fat doesn't mean losing fat, right? You could do 3 workouts in a row and burn 600 calories. And if you go home and you eat an entire Papa John's pizza, like you're just not going to lose fat. Burning fat and losing fat, two totally different things. So when you're in a caloric deficit, we want to make sure that we maintain our muscle because we want it to only burn the fat. So to do that, we have to say, hey, brain, hey, body, don't burn this muscle because we're using these muscles. We're not using the fat. You can burn all of that, but we're using these muscles in our strength training. So that's why it's important to strength train. A lot of people will say, oh, when you build all of this muscle, it improves your metabolism. And technically, that is true. But 1 pound of muscle only really burns 6 to 8 calories every 24 hours. So if you put on 10 pounds of muscle, it's 60 to 80 extra calories burned in a day. Not that much. The real reason to strength train is so that you don't lose muscle while you are in a caloric deficit.
So, can you explain how cardio and strength complement each other when it comes to body composition and overall health?
Yeah. So in again, body composition, we want to look at the triangle. We have our lose body fat, right? And that's going to come from nutrition. We want to increase our lean muscle tissue, right? So you have the bone, you have the muscle around that, you have the fat around that, and then you have the skin around that. We want to keep the skin, we want to keep the bone. So the two things in between there is what we get to play with. And I want to shrink the size of the coat that we're wearing. That's our, right? That's our body fat. And I want to increase that beautiful muscle underneath of it. And that's going to give you this nice, toned looking physique. So you have proper nutrition, you have proper strength training to maintain that muscle. But then we have to look at how well our heart and lungs are working. And that is very important. And I don't want to see this paradigm shift happen, this pendulum swing all the way over to the other side. We need it right here. It was all the way on the cardio side, no strength training. And now strength training got so popular that it's like whoop, all the way on this side and there's no cardio training. And we need to find that balance right in the middle where we have proper strength training, we have proper cardiorespiratory training, and we also have proper nutrition.
Yeah. And we've talked about gyms in the industry that aren't offering any cardio options.
Now,
And, and there's plenty of my members who take advantage of our cardio option. And then there's plenty that don't. So I feel like I totally agree. I think there was this shift, and I think we're coming back, hopefully settling somewhere in the middle where both methods of fitness and exercise are important. And it's just, how do you fit both of them in tight, busy
mhm,
schedules? And like, what does that look like? I'm very, very confident in the strength training side. I used to be very confident in the cardio side, and now I just feel like I'm playing with it to figure out what is the optimal, what's the optimal amount of time, the optimal intervals, the appropriate, combination for
mhm,
my members. So I feel like we're playing with it from the science side, which is where I would come from with it, but also from the member side where they do still feel like many of them still feel like they have to get crazy sweaty and be just all out gassed for them to feel like they had a good workout, or they're going to be upset. And so it's, again, yeah, it's this pendulum swing, and where are we at in the middle of it, and where's the education piece to get everyone on board and on the same page with like what's the most beneficial that's going to leave you feeling really good but also be really good for your body. So,
yeah. And I work with a lot of people that will come from another gym, right? One that's, has a theoretical color maybe in their name or something like that.
yes, I understand.
And they just have been blasted through cardio and they're like, I have to do it. Or maybe they sustained an injury or they come to me seeking some strength training. And I said, I need you to dial back. And they're like, no, 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 here. And I was like, just take my word for it. Just
Yeah.
just try it. And then they come back and they go, wow, I feel better. I have less aches and pains, less inflammation throughout my body, and I'm burning more fat. Are they burning more fat? Well, what they're doing is everything else is coming into alignment,
Hmm.
right? So we start getting into this, especially people that have been exercising for a while. If I can just have this mental shift just for a second, just try it, right? Well, it's not gonna hurt you if you dial back for 1 week, not gonna hurt anything. You can go back to the craziness if you want, after the fact. But in 1 to 2 weeks, you start to see hormone regulation come back. You start to see all of these things that were disrupted from all of the years of dieting, all of the years of cardio, all of the years, especially women in their 40s, 50s. It's amazing and they're going through already a hormonal shift. And now we're, just blasting them with cardio. We want to kind of reframe how they are experiencing exercise. And then they'll reap the rewards. I mean, they'll see it firsthand and in a relative short period of time.
Wow, there's so much more that we are going to cover here in today's episode regarding fitness and fat loss and cardio versus strength training. And we're going to launch episode 2 of this next week. So stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in to Real Women, Real Results. If you loved this episode, be sure to follow the podcast and leave a review. It helps more women find these powerful stories. If you're local and want to join our gym, check out our 4-week trial. Head to train@w3body.com for more info. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, w3body_Berwyn and w3body_Elmhurst for more strength, support, and community. See you next time.